This is the Anna Gale Lines Podcast, where we equip you with the tools and insights to take charge of your life and thrive. And here is your host, life coach and author, Anna Gale Lines.
Welcome to the Anna Gale Lines Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Gale Lines. In today's episode, we're going to explore the profound concept of personal narratives. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are, where we've come from, and where we're headed. These narratives aren't just tales we recount. They're the very fabric of our beliefs, our behaviors, and our identities. Join me as we unravel how our personal narratives influence every aspect of our lives, from the choices we make to the relationships we form. We'll dive into why certain narratives become ingrained, how they evolve over time, and most importantly, how we can harness their power to cultivate resilience, achieve personal growth, and shape our destinies. Get ready to challenge your perceptions and embark on a journey to understand the stories that define us. We'll dive deep into the world of personal narratives. Our personal narrative is the ongoing story we tell ourselves about our lives, experiences, beliefs, and identities. It's the lens through which we interpret the world and make sense of our place within it. This narrative is shaped by a multitude of factors, including our upbringing, culture, experiences, relationships, successes, and failures. At its core, our personal narrative encompasses our identity. It defines who we believe ourselves to be, including our strengths, weaknesses, values, and aspirations. It encompasses meaning. It gives significance to our experiences, helping us understand why things happen the way they do and how they fit into our life story. It encompasses direction. It guides our decisions, actions, influencing the paths we choose to take and the goals we strive to achieve. It encompasses resilience. It's how we respond to challenges and setbacks, shaping our ability to persevere and grow from adversity. It encompasses interpretation. It frames our perceptions of ourselves and others, influencing our relationships and interactions. Understanding our personal narrative involves reflecting on the stories we habitually tell ourselves, recognizing any patterns of thinking or beliefs that may be limiting or empowering. Becoming aware of our personal narrative, we can actively shape it, foster growth, resilience, and a greater sense of purpose in our lives. So what are some ways that our personal narrative holds us back? One, by limiting beliefs. Our personal narratives can instill limiting beliefs about our capabilities, potential, and worthiness, which will prevent us from pursuing our aspirations. Basically, we believe that we are not enough. We are not pretty enough. We are not talented enough. We don't have enough skills. We are just not naturally talented at that thing we want to go for. We have this limiting belief that we are not enough and that we could never be enough. And that holds us back. A fear of failure, narratives that emphasize past failures and setbacks can create a fear of failure, leading to avoidance of risks and missed opportunities for growth. So we don't venture out of our comfort zone because we believe we're going to fail. We're going to embarrass ourselves. We are not going to succeed. And we have a fixed mindset, which reinforces our narrative, making us believe that our abilities and our qualifications are static, hindering our willingness to learn and adapt. A fixed mindset means that we believe that if we're not good at math when we're younger, no matter how much we practice math, we are not going to be good at math. We're not good at science, so nothing we do is going to make us good at science. But that's not the truth. We can change our mindset and we can change our abilities. We can learn to master math. We can learn to master science. We can learn more about history. But if we don't take that opportunity to learn and master it, then we are always going to believe that we are no good at it. And we have a lot of negative self-talk. We internalize the negative narrative that leads to persistent self-criticism and undermining our self-confidence and resilience. We tell ourselves we are not good enough. We tell ourselves that we are not enough. We tell ourselves that we can never be enough. And we get into this victim mentality because we believe that life is happening to us instead of reacting to what is going on in our lives and taking back control and deciding what we can do to make our lives better. We get into a victim mentality and we keep telling ourselves all the negative things about ourselves until we believe them, and that becomes our story. And we get into the comparison trap. We compare ourselves to others. We see what they're doing in their lives. They've got the C-suite, they've got this family, loving spouse, and we don't have any of those things. And so we compare our lives and what we don't have to what they do have. This is especially now that we've got social media. We are all comparing our Instagram to other people's Instagram. We're comparing our lives to what we see in those pictures. And the thing is that they're only showing you the highlights. They're not showing you what goes on a day-to-day basis. The arguments they have with their spouse, the trouble they have getting their 2-year-old to go to bed or take a bath. You don't see all that. You don't see the day-to-day mundane things that are happening in their lives. You only see the highlight reels, their vacation or their promotion or whatever is going on. We have to remember what we do have. We have to make a list of what we do have and the blessings we do have in our lives. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we have to remember what we do have. And we reinforce our comfort zones. Our narratives reinforce our comfort zones by convincing us to stay within those boundaries because we're safe. But if we don't venture out of our comfort zones, we are never going to find out what's on the other side and what we could be. If we stay in our comfort zones, we are always going to be living the same life that we are living now. We are not going to be living anything better, and we're not going to be better in life because we won't get out of our comfort zone. And then we become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Negative narratives can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, influencing our behaviors and our interactions in a way that validates our negative beliefs. So we start thinking negative about ourselves, that we can't do this, we're not enough, all of this. And life will validate that for us because what we believe will happen in our lives. So we are going to get more of that because that's what we believe. We become resistant to change. Narratives that resist change and growth can make us complacent, preventing us from seeking new experiences and opportunities for personal development. We will never be more than we are if we are resistant to change. And then we lack purpose because a vague or unclear narrative about our life's purpose can lead us to feeling aimless and leading to dissatisfaction, making it difficult for us to go after our goals. So what are 10 benefits of changing our personal narrative? One is it's empowering. It gives us empowerment. Changing our personal narratives can empower us by shifting from a victim mentality to one of agency and responsibility, enabling us to take control of our lives. You are 100% responsible for what happens in your life. Not what actually happens to you, but how you react to what happens to you. You are not responsible for how people think of you. You are not responsible for how they treat you. You are not responsible for what they believe about you. You are not responsible for what they do to you, but you are responsible for how you react to what happens and what they believe and what they do. You have to decide if you are going to live an empowered life or if you're going to allow what they think, believe, and speak about you to frame your narrative. It causes us to have increased resilience when we adopt more empowering narratives. It helps enhance our resilience. It helps us bounce back from setbacks and challenges with greater strength and determination. So when we fall down, when we fail, we get up more quickly because we know that we are made for more. We know that there's more that we need to do in our lives. So we become resilient. And it improves our self-confidence because changing our negative self-talk to more positive self-talk and more affirming self-talk boosts our self-esteem and our confidence in our abilities, and it causes us to actually get out of our comfort zone and do more with our lives. And then we develop a growth mindset. So instead of being in a fixed mindset where we're no good at math, we're no good at science, we're no good at bookkeeping, we're no good at marketing, we take that opportunity to master those skills and become better at them, because you can always become better at your weaknesses. It's not a situation where you just are not good at it. You're not talented at it. You may not have a natural talent for it, but you can learn and you can master those skills. Positive narratives can increase our motivation by aligning our actions with our values and our goals and our aspirations. And it helps us to achieve our goals. It gives us the motivation to go after them. And it makes us have better relationships because changing our narratives about ourselves and others can improve our relationships by promoting empathy, understanding, and effective communication. And it will also increase our creativity and our innovation because adopting a positive narrative encourages exploration and risk-taking that can simulate creativity and innovation, leading us to new ideas and new solutions. And it helps us to be adaptable. A flexible narrative that embraces change and adaptation can enhance our ability to navigate uncertain situations and seize new opportunities. It gives us a sense of purpose. It helps us clarify and align our narrative with our core values and aspirations and provides us with a clearer sense of purpose and direction. And it helps us have overall well-being. Changing our narrative to focus on positivity and growth and empowerment helps us to have overall well-being, fostering a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness. So what are some ways that we can change our personal narrative? One of them is becoming self-aware. We need to become aware of what we're telling ourselves. We need to become aware of what our story is. What is happening in your life? You can trace whatever is happening in your life to your thinking and the stories you're telling yourself. So you need to pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Are you telling yourself that you're not good enough? Are you telling yourself you're not talented enough? Are you telling yourself that you will never be enough? Are you telling yourself this is the way life is because of the culture I come from? Are you telling yourself that you can't do anything because you're a female? Are you telling yourself that you can't be any more than you are because nobody else in your family has done more with their lives? We need to start noticing the patterns in our thoughts and in our beliefs, and we need to listen to the stories of what we are telling ourselves. And then we need to identify our limiting beliefs. So what is it that you're telling yourself? What is holding you back? Write them down and challenge their validity. So you're telling yourself that you can't do anything better because your family hasn't done anything better. Well, maybe they didn't have the resources to do anything better. Maybe they didn't change their thinking enough to do anything better. Maybe they didn't want to do any better. But you've got to come to a decision of whether you're going to allow yourself to be limited by what your family did, or what your culture says, or what your religion says. You have to write those limiting beliefs down and challenge them. Is that necessarily true? Ask yourself, is this limiting belief true? does it have to be true in my life? What reasons does it have to be true in my life? And what reasons can it be changed? And then we need to have positive affirmations. We need to practice daily affirmations that counteract that negative self-talk, that counteract what those limiting beliefs are, and that highlights the positive aspects of ourselves and our capabilities. And then we need to visualize ourselves as achieving our goals, living the life that we desire, reinforcing that positive narrative. We need to see ourselves as better than we are today. What is it that you want to do with your life? Where do you want to be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now? Do you want to be living a different life? Do you want to have a family? Do you want to meet that special someone? Do you want to have the C-suite? Do you want to start your own business? What is it that you want to do with your life? And then visualize yourself doing it. What does it take to become that person? What does it take to become the CEO of your own company? What does it take to find that special someone? What does it take to challenge those beliefs? And then start acting on it. Start acting as if you've already got it. And then we need to journal. We keep a journal to explore our thoughts and our emotions. We write down our experiences and reflect on those patterns in our lives, those patterns of negative thinking. And that's where we challenge them, is in our journal. What are those stories that you're telling yourself? Are they true? And counter them in your journal. So your journal is like the court. It gets to decide whether or not those narratives or those limiting beliefs get to stay in your life. And then we need to seek perspective. So we need to talk to our friends and our mentors and our therapists to get an outside perspective on our narrative and receive constructive feedback. And then we need to step out of our comfort zones, and we need to try new experiences, and we need to engage in other things. Let's say you've always wanted to play piano, or you've always wanted to visit Italy, or you always wanted to paint, or you wanted to learn how to write or write a song or whatever. You could take classes to learn how to do those things. You could travel the world. You can make Italy your next experience. Or you could just learn about Italian culture. But we need to step out of our comfort zone and do something new, because we are always going to have the same result if we keep doing what we're doing. And we need to challenge our assumptions, question our assumptions about our narrative. We need to ask ourselves questions whether those assumptions are based on fact or just something we were taught. And then we need to practice mindfulness. We need to practice being in the moment. We need to practice not thinking about the future or not thinking about the past, but being in this present moment. And what is it that your inner voice is telling you? What is it telling you to do? What is it trying to guide you towards? Make sure that you are staying in the moment and staying still and actually listening to your inner voice. And we need to read inspirational material. Surround ourselves with books and articles and podcasts that promote positive thinking and positive growth, and actually getting us to our goals and where we want to go in our lives. And then we need to set SMART goals. We need to set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals that help us reinforce that new narrative, that help us get to our goals. And we need to celebrate our successes. We need to acknowledge and celebrate our achievements, no matter how small. We went to that class and we finished that stained glass class. We need to celebrate. We got that promotion. We need to celebrate. We finished writing our novel. We need to celebrate. We finished editing our novel. We need to celebrate. We sent it to a publisher. We need to celebrate. Because we need to celebrate our successes and reinforce those victories that we've had in our lives that show us that we are going towards our goals. We're going towards where we want to be and who we want to be. And then we need to practice gratitude, because so many times we are looking at what other people have and we don't realize what we have. The roof over our head, electricity, running water, that we have a job, or we have the opportunity to build our own business through the internet. These are things that a lot of people don't have, and that we didn't have 20 years ago. We didn't have 50 years ago. And then we need to change our language, the way we speak. We need to pay attention to what we are saying about ourselves in the presence of others, what we're saying about other people. We need to change the way we speak about ourselves. We can't be calling ourselves dumb. We can't be calling ourselves an idiot. We cannot be putting ourselves down. We have to start speaking good about ourselves, because the most powerful voice is our voice. So if we keep hearing ourselves talk good about ourselves, we're going to start to believe it. And we need to learn from our setbacks. We need to reframe our setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures. We did not fail. We just learned different ways that we can't get to our goals. We gotta keep going after our goals, different ways to get to our goals, and we will eventually hit on the right way to get there. But failure is just telling us that's not the way to get to our goals. And then we need to practice self-compassion, because there are going to be times in our lives that we are going to fail, and we're going to come up against challenges. But we need to be kind to ourselves, to rest when we need to rest, forgive ourselves when we've had a setback, and we need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and we are speaking positively about ourselves, believing positively about ourselves, believing in ourselves, and advocating for ourselves, and speaking up for ourselves. We just need to start taking small steps. Break our larger goals into smaller, manageable steps, and celebrate all the successes along the way. Because we look at our big goals and we look at them and we get intimidated. But if we break those bigger goals down into smaller, manageable steps, we can finish this step, then that step, then this step, and that step. And then before we know it, we're starting to climb that ladder towards our goals and our dreams. So as we conclude today's exploration into personal narratives, we hope this episode has shed some light on the profound influence these stories hold over our lives. Remember, our personal narratives aren't just passive reflections on who we are. They actively shape our beliefs, behaviors, and identities. By understanding and consciously shaping our narratives, we can empower ourselves to rewrite our stories of limitation into narratives of resilience and growth. Take some time to reflect on the narratives that guide your life. Are there aspects you'd like to change or empower? We encourage you to embrace the power of your own narrative, knowing that with awareness and intention, you hold the pen to your life story. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this episode insightful, please consider subscribing and share it with someone who might benefit. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions. Until next time, keep rewriting your narrative towards a future filled with possibility and purpose.